Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, Dan. How
Would
are
you like to start us off?
I
I'm
would.
okay. I'm very angry because, I'm very angry because it's day 9 and I've realized that I don't know how many more of these days I can continue without filming this type of content which you're about to see.
So today is Monday, June 2nd, 2025, video 1451. Well, it's actually, you said today's day 9, but this is the 6th video, so that's where it actually gets a little confusing. Season 5, episode 1003.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and erase this entire board, and at the same time, let's go ahead and erase everything right here other than the green. Mission, due, and assign.
Okay.
So all the blue we're going to go ahead and erase, and the reason for that is because tomorrow we will be delivered the wireframe for Pro Slay, and for anyone that doesn't understand what's going on, please let me give you a quick recap before the 20 minutes that's admissible in court. Now that's a joke, because just like the judge sets arbitrary standards for the amount of minutes on a YouTube video, the judge, in our case, really is one federal bankruptcy judge, and then everyone stems down from there, because essentially that is a venue that sees me, gives me basic respect when I show up, and is able to be coherent in their responses. Now, whether or not I agree with those responses are not only
That's
arbitrary, but they
Good
will be
point.
displayed on this YouTube channel. A lot of people do not understand the significance of this YouTube channel. Some of the people that are closest to me are the ones that have a hard time really understanding oily forehead and chapped lips. Story of my life. So a lot of people don't really understand why this channel is so important. This channel documents the real life growth. First, I documented the destruction of my life over the course of 5 years. Now I will document the meteoric rise from where I started. It starts with real estate. It doesn't start with a digital platform that is revolutionary. It starts with real estate. Real estate is really the coherent process of how I make money. So without understanding that, and without having the courts recognize that I'm a commercial real estate developer that is a victim of fraud, I cannot proceed. And that is what we're going to spend the next week doing, is really highlighting and expressing that I am a victim of fraud on so many different levels that in order to dismiss what I have to say, all one has to do is just call me crazy and say, he has not shown us anything that's coherent. Now, that is not true. That in itself is part of the conspiracy. So most people cannot express themselves at a point where the audience or a third party member or anyone is able to digest what they're saying. Meaning that most people find themselves so underwater with the details of the crimes committed against them that they lose track of what they're trying to do. And within the context of bankruptcy, my motions recently have been denied in most parts, but that's exactly what I needed to happen. Because if the motions are not denied, then why would I have a reason to film any content whatsoever? But if they are accepted, then I wouldn't be able to film because people are following the law. Right now, what I had done, I just wanted to say thank you to Judge Sherwood and thank you to everyone in the courts that turned a blind eye to the courts committing crimes. By denying the motions, the court has in bold face said that we do not accept that we committed a crime against you, Daniel. Do you understand that, Jamie?
I do.
Now, whoa, nice clean board, like a magic trick. The reason why this is so important also is that as a commercial real estate developer and an entrepreneur, those are my 2 main sources of income. I am prevented from doing those jobs by the fraud committed against me. Now, we're going to go ahead and file new litigation as it stems from the denial of these orders. Let me explain. Up here, I'm going to have you write our lawsuits and the due date of when we calibrate them. What that means is, let's go ahead and put up here the name of the judge or the name of the case. So like,
Do you want to put your
Reese's v.
bankruptcy
Reese's.
as
Let's do
first?
Reese's, bankruptcy, okay? Now bankruptcy is really important because we have 30 days to submit a formal plan. But for anyone that has any knowledge of the courts or anything like that, accounting and numbers are the most important part of the feasibility of a bankruptcy reorganization plan. But if I'm dealing with matters that are outside of my control and the courts are not willing to recognize the millions of dollars that I had stolen from me, how am I supposed to present a coherent reorganization plan if the core of the reason of why I'm in bankruptcy is that the courts deny facts? Do you understand?
I understand what you're saying.
All right, awesome. Bankruptcy due date. I want to get this done by Friday. So whatever that is. Tomorrow we're going to see the judge, and I'm going to tell him within 72 hours you're going to be presented with everything you need. And that doesn't mean I'm going to be giving a bankruptcy plan at a time where the courts have set me up to fail. And the reason for that is because my entire reason for filing for bankruptcy is that I am a victim of fraud. The people that have committed fraud against me are already in prison and or have arrest warrants for them. So for example, my mother, Margarita Reeses, a big part of the reason why I'm in bankruptcy is because of her, my brother, and David Bogomolny, who's my cousin, my mother's brother's son, who was raised very similar to me in a form of, we were very close. And the reason why I say all this is that how can I, as a human being, Jamie, and this is a direct question to you,
Okay.
how can I possibly present, look at this, her head, how can I possibly present a plan, look, I can just pick you up. How can I possibly present the plan if the core of my plan stems from, hey, I had crimes committed against me, here's the evidence of the crime, I need to recognize the crime. How am I supposed to present the plan?
You cannot present a plan.
So that means that without the courts doing their job and actually recognizing the core of the reason for why I filed for bankruptcy is that humans committed fraud against me. So without the recognition of this and giving them credit, so for example,
Well, I mean, you just asked for basic accounting and were denied.
Yeah,
So, like,
I
you're like,
denied
I
for-
want to give you information,
like
but
how can I
need
give a plan
information.
if the trustee in my case took millions of dollars and funneled them? Let me explain to you something, Jamie.
What about
The
like
reason
the-
why these guys are getting away with this is very simple put. The people that, so Richard Trey, Don Biase have been doing this thing for a long time. The judge is in on it, everybody's in on it, okay? What they do is they rack up millions of dollars in legal fees, liquidate estates, do not handle any of the actual matters, and take all the money with the judge in tow.
Yeah.
Do you understand? My estate was $20 to $30 million. They took $2 to $3 million in cash, but they didn't. What they did was they basically destroyed my entire life to take a little bit of money. And they do this hundreds, if not thousands of times. They just did it to the completely wrong person.
Yes.
And they are fucked. And there's nothing they can do about it. So the judge can pretend and deny and do whatever he wants. It's not going to change the facts. That's why this channel is so important, is because before the invention of this channel, humans had no outlet to freeze the shit that they have to deal with and show it to the rest of the world and say, hey guys, this is so important for us to work together and to figure out what the hell is going on. In my case is because if someone like me is not able to sustain the wealth that they have built on a legitimate level, I am a federal agent, I am a human being who's also responsible for ending the Black Lives Matter riots while I was the CEO of Pierce Bainbridge and we ran the Kyle Rittenhouse narrative. Jamie, do you even understand how frustrating it is for me to be the victim of millions of dollars of fraud, have zero police adjudication, intervention, zero court adjudication, but Margarita Reeses didn't pay legal fees to Silas Cummins Gross,
Yeah.
and they were able to get an arrest warrant for her. So I am filming this YouTube video and saying, somebody bring Rita in, but I get to ask her some basic questions first. And this is an arrest warrant. It's an actual arrest warrant. Your Honor, what on earth are you talking about in your denial of these motions by inventing stories? Nobody believes you. Your Honor, Judge John Sherwood, federal bankruptcy judge, Judge Salas. Guys, the You have lost all credibility with your recent filings. Yes, you did it hook, line, and sinker. Yes, all I needed to do was to show, hey, look at how a federal judge acts when being confronted and exposed as a big ringleader in the complacency of why? Because of money. Because I could easily film videos that show my personal life, my professional life, and how they mirror one another. But I choose to only show my professional life right now. Do you understand?
Yes.
What do you have to say about all this? You know, I feel like you just stand and smile, but it's so important for you to speak as to, do you have children?
I do.
Have your children been affected by the crimes committed against me?
Yes.
Excellent.
I think it's very frustrating as someone who is trying to get someplace in the legal justice system to be like completely just, you know, they throw procedural bias and
Yeah.
things at us that are like just meant to discredit us and get our attention away from what's really important.
But we're not going to do that, Jamie. We're going to go ahead and focus, recalibrate, and explain to everyone that this video is so important because we're going to be able to film additional videos and freeze frame them and say, hey, Fred Davies is in prison. This is a man that caused me to have a judgment on my life without due process and without just cause. This man ruined my financial career, and a lot of people piggybacked off it, including my mother and my cousin. Please understand that this is all real. It's extremely painful. So
But no one wants to acknowledge it.
No, but they did, and I'll explain to you how. By getting one court order that is in our favor, we were able to show ourselves and the world that we're actually successful. And I'll explain to you why. Because we are not attorneys. But in order for you to understand this, let me make it very clear, okay? Right now, the class action lawsuit that I'm facing from former employees that is frivolous
Yes.
is in the wind, meaning like they can submit declarations.
What do you mean
that-
it's in the wind?
We don't know if the case is going to be dismissed based on what we have filed, because if the plaintiffs choose to lie, submit false declarations, then that is in my behalf. That really works in my favor, because I could easily show, look, these are not just employees, these are fraudsters that are submitting fraudulent
I think that
declarations to the court.
You're speaking about the order without explaining what you're
No,
saying.
that's the point,
Oh.
is that I want to speak about the order before we run through the details.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
in reality, it is so complicated that once we start introducing the multiple layers that the people that are going against me are counting on are too much for every person to process, that's where we lose the 300 million human beings this is for, and the lawyers and the judges win because they run a very complicated system where they can easily just point and say, you're not a lawyer, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're talking about. But that's not the truth. The truth is very simple. And the truth is that by not recognizing the crimes committed against me, by the very same court that I look for in saying, hey, we know that my mom and Davies and the fucking PB financing, Lustig and all that stuff, that was a criminal matter, and my mom forged my signature, whatever. But in the Chapter 7 bankruptcy itself, the job of the trustee, the judge, as well as the attorney for the trustee, was to protect the value of the estate, adjudicate the claims, and then liquidate the assets. The first two were completely ignored. So what the attorneys and the trustee and the judge did was they systemically liquidated my portfolio and ignored all the claims and everything that I said. So for 4 months, I would be called into court, and everything I would say was just simply ignored in order to liquidate my house was stolen from me. So instead of jumping all over the place, we're going to target just the real estate and explain to Your Honor that what I want is for crimes to be recognized and then adjudicated. I don't want Your Honor to be judge, jury, and executioner over here. I need the law to do its job. My entire argument is twofold. I want my shit back, and I want you guys to take responsibility for the bullshit that you've put everybody through. Does that make any sense?
It does. Every lawsuit you have is about lawyers who have lied and who have defrauded
They just
you.
don't stop lying.
Like
And
each
the
one,
judge,
you
the
made
judge,
a
the
list.
judge just soiled himself completely soiled himself, because at this time the judge has zero power to dismiss the case, because he himself was the presiding judge for the Chapter 7 and the Chapter 11, and has completely destroyed all credibility in courts. And if you're watching this and you're a clerk, you're a part of a conspiracy. You might think that you're just doing your job, and I'm sure there's legitimate cases, but when it comes to Daniel M. Reeses, every single person that continues to act as if this is a civil matter and not a criminal matter, including Special Agent Mahoney and every Senator Booker, the governor, every single person that ignores it, just shows me and anyone that knows me how corrupt and rigged the system is. Because had I committed any crimes, I would be brought up on charges immediately without any say. But because I committed no crimes and I was a victim of crime, but I refused to stand down, this system has completely turned itself in a self-preservation mode. Because what I have created is an entire business around humans like myself, who have built a significant amount of equity and refuse to buckle down and have all the facts on my side. And I do not need an attorney, no matter how many times I have to say this. But eventually, in the next couple of days, probably, I'm going to get an attorney just to be a part of the insanity of what the courts have been doing. I am owed over $100 million. I am about to prove to you in the upcoming videos of what exactly has been going on. And there is no human being that is able to create an income for himself while having frivolous judgments hanging over their head. It is impossible. So for anyone who has some opinion against me, please pick up a fucking book and learn something. I'm a victim of fraud. That fraud doesn't carry over against state lines or any of that. It needs to be recognized immediately, and this is already day 9 without the recognition of crimes that are committed against me. I am not able to do anything until those crimes are recognized, because they are completely the core reason. I did not overspend. I am a very smart person. Watch any of these videos. I'm a lot smarter than you. And I don't make decisions that hurt me in business. And the entire concept that this is somehow my fault is the paradox. Because humans that are victims of crime are constantly led to believe that they are somehow at fault for this.
Yes.
They are constantly told that it is because you did this. Look at your videos. Look at your relationship with Jamie. Everyone, you go fuck yourselves. Do you have any idea of the bullshit that I have had to tolerate?
I don't think anyone has.
Because of nothing more than I have children and I am trying to be a nice guy. I'm going to explain to everyone via this thing. Right now, we're not going to write anything except this, because I want to take my time and organize this and show everyone why Pro Slay is going to be right here, right? Casper versus Harvey. And that is really the battle. The battle is now recognized. It is Casper versus Harvey. And in order for me to film the rest of the videos, I need Jamie to look into what is Harvey, why Casper versus Harvey is the real fight, and why I'm going to fuck Harvey up. And nobody understands exactly what I'm talking about, but Casper is the leading engine, artificial intelligence, in the world for legal advocacy for pro se litigants. This is very important because the court is now denying the brilliance of me, Casper, Jamie, and the system that I built in order to just save their asses on a punk-ass little case. The court doesn't even understand because it is being manipulated by old white men. You've got women, you've got young people, you've got ethnic people that have a color, that have been routinely oppressed. You've got human beings whose family were slaves being part of a system that robs, steals, and tortures legitimate human beings who are not willing to play ball by the rules that have been created to take away all of their creativity, all of their power, and all of their drive just to fuel a dichotomy of theft that exists within the layers of the legal minutia known as the American court system.
Yeah, well said.
Is it?
Yeah, it's true.
For anyone who doesn't understand what I'm able to do, please try to speak openly for more than 2 minutes on a certain coherent subject, and you'll see why it is very difficult to film 22 minutes of relevant content without stuttering.
Always
and
having
like that.
something original to say.
That is extremely valuable to the US government. It is extremely valuable to me. It is extremely valuable to people in the future, and definitely very valuable in the past. Present, but not in the past. But we live in a society where social media is based on the past. When you see a tile, when you see a post, it already has happened. You are not in the present, and you're definitely not in the future. So if you're a voyeur who is very interested in looking at social media, please understand that by watching this video, I've ruined it for you. You are living in the past. Everything you see on social media is designed to trigger a memory, not a thought pattern. If you have certain thought patterns and growth points where you learn businesses or inventions and ideas, that is nothing more than a byproduct of your memories and your intelligence being put together, not the other way around. How much time do we have left?
You have 44 seconds.
Woo. See, in order to do this video, you actually have to know what you're talking about. And that's the core of why I laugh. I have stopped laughing. At this point, I am mortified as to the nature of the humans that we as Americans pay taxes to. Please remember that what I'm going against is a tax-funded entity. It is not some third-party corporation with an agenda, but rather a constitutional merit-based obligation that is being completely ignored, obliterated, and whitewashed.
10.
They really put the white in whitewash. Hey, Jamie.
Yeah,
You know, you really
Madam?
talk too much.
I do.